How's it going? I'm gonna. Hi. I can't tell if I'm quite live yet. Sometimes there's just a little delay. So I'm gonna chat for a moment and get my materials together here. Okay, great. I think that we're all together now. Hi, everybody. My name is Crispina French, and I am a textile recycling entrepreneur, artist, activist. That sounds good, doesn't it? Let me say that again. My name is Crispina French, and I am a textile recycling and entrepreneur, activist, environmentalist. I think that's what I said. That's got a nice ring to it. I'm going to try to smooth that one out a little bit. All right, cool. So I am on day number, what is it, 21? I think it is 21. I think this is the beginning of our third or the end of our second week. Tomorrow will begin our third week. No, tomorrow will begin our fourth week of my Live at 11 series all about creative textile recycling. And it's been super awesome. We've touched upon a bunch of different topics that have been suggested by people just like you out there watching, listening to this little live feed. So today we're going to talk about other cool things that are happening in the wild world of textile recycling, creative stuff, and then the opposite, the absolute opposite, like how can you be in your own life, how can you contribute to textile recycling without having to spend a lot of time thinking about it or doing creative stuff. So I think we're going to get started with my, have you guys seen this magazine, Salvage the Fabric of Your Life? It's such a beautiful publication, and I am not an affiliate. This is not an advertisement for them, but it's a really great publication. It comes out of London, and this is the most recent copy. And each month they have kind of a different focus, and they're really all about, it's all about textiles all over the world. And there's a little bit of like printing too, but it's really textile based. And as soon as I get it, I can't wait to like just sneak away from everything else in the world and just I gotta take my glasses off because I keep seeing, can you see the light reflecting in my glasses? It looks like I'm like a spooky creepy cartoon character. The only problem is that when I take my glasses off, I can't see a sausage, as my dad would say. Anyway, when I get the magazine, I go and I just read it cover to cover. I can't wait to get it. I love the ads. I love everything about it. I love the paper that it's printed on. So check it out, Salvage. It's really expensive, and it's worth everything that it costs. It's cover price on here is $30, $28.95 in the United States. They sell it all over the world. It's like a book. I have all the copies that I've ever gotten. It's beautiful. So yeah, Salvage. And actually, I was so flattered and excited that in February, I think it might have been the January issue. I think it's actually a January-February issue that they do. They featured a little spread all about me. It made me so happy. So maybe I'll bring that next time and show you the article. At any rate, this month's issue has some really cool things going on with recycled textiles, and I'm just going to show you the spread because it's just like, look at that beautiful image of this company that's based in India, and they make clothing with other manufacturers' scrap. So it's definitely reduce textile usage, upcycle more. That's the mantra of India's Ras Leela. Ras Leela, I think is how you pronounce the name of the company. Anyway, definitely check it out. You can get this, subscribe to the magazine and read the article, or I don't know if there's other ways of getting it. It's like a 4-page spread. So that is one really cool thing to check out. The whole magazine is full of really cool things to check out, but that one really caught my eye because of the recycled nature. There's a whole spread on the Liberty of London fabric company. And then this, okay, look at this. This company, Colores, it's in Guatemala, and they're making these amazing, just wowzers, holy crow, just beautiful hooked rugs using all of the um, used clothing from their markets. Like it's so in Guatemala, I went to Guatemala once and I fell in love with that country, and the culture, and the native people who live there are like the most magical. Uh, the stuff they make is like from heaven. But anyway, they spend a lot of time making their traditional clothing, and then there's like this influx of demand on that aesthetic from our culture, and it changed their ability to stay true to their native um, creation and still make money. So it would take somebody, it would take like 3 or 4 months of work to make one wheat peel that's like traditional. And each town has their own like pattern to their wapil, so someone can tell by what you're wearing where you're from. It's really cool. It's ancient. So anyway, these lovely women who have, with the help of some well, inspiration that really helped, inspired by women who went there, who taught them how to hook rugs, and they use their traditional patterns and colors and sensibilities to make these amazing rugs, and they can make them quickly enough to actually make a living. And it's not, it's sort of nurturing their whoops, that's the wrong way, it's nurturing their indigenous culture. Look at that, and look at that girl, like, is she just so beautiful, and she's so happy. And yeah, so, and they're made out of clothing. So this is where I wanted to kind of take the story that I'm telling you guys today about creative textile recycling, is that um, when I used to run a production company, and I had 40 employees, and we made the similar designs to what I continue to make today, and sold them to stores all over the world, mostly the United States, but Australia, Japan, Germany, Italy, like Canada, all over, Mexico. Um, and I learned a lot about the used clothing industry through that experience. So like the whole sort of stream of how things, like when you donate your clothing to the Goodwill dumpster in your local transfer station, what actually happens to that material, and how does it get what happens to it, basically. And there's a whole network of companies that sell used clothing by the bale, and bales range in size from 100 pounds to 1,000 pounds. And you can say to a company, hey, I want a bale of t-shirts, and adult size t-shirts, and you will get a bale of any kind of thing that could ever be possibly construed as a t-shirt. Um, they probably won't have buttons, they won't have collars, they'll be a t-shirt, and it'll be a bale. Or you can say to them, I want a bale of 100% cotton men's t-shirts, and you can get that too, but that will cost you a lot more than if you say, hey, I just want a bale of t-shirts. And when I was buying t-shirts, which was back in the day, when I first started buying wool by the bale, it cost 30 cents a pound. When I stopped buying wool by the bale, it cost $3.50 a pound. So I think I created a little market there. So cool to watch these companies that have traditionally been kind of like trodden, like, you know, oh, like garbage men, but maybe a little worse, because they didn't just throw the stuff away, they actually sorted through it. Um, they became quite successful. There was a market developed out of the creative use of discarded clothing. But what happens to the rest of that stuff, right? Like, what happens to the stuff, the sweaters that I wasn't buying, or the t-shirts that weren't suitable for my process that I wasn't buying, is that they get baled up and they get sold to people who export them to other countries, like Central and South America, African countries, you know, all over the world, where people who don't have the financial prowess that we do in our culture, you know, people who are, I mean, is the term third world country still used? Like, it just seems like such a derogatory thing to say, but I think it conveys what I'm talking about. These markets where traditional people normally would buy their food and, you know, the things that they needed for living now have been infiltrated by these sellers who sell used clothing from our culture, and they sell, batteries and alarm clocks and plastic crap from China. And there's all these different, it's like a flea market. So the women who are making these rugs over in Guatemala are buying the used clothing from that setting to make back into their traditional designs for us with our crap. I love it. It's just like so full circle, like creative textile recycling. So let's support them as much as we can. The name of that company is Coloris, and they're multicoloris, and they're based in Guatemala. And I bet you that they have a website. They're pretty well developed with their marketing. I think they're going to do super well. And I'll just show you another image from the article in Selvage. And I wish that there was a title big enough that I could show you how to look them up, because yeah, pretty cool. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about today is the stream. Okay, here they are. See this, the same sweet girl right here. See, that's how you spell the name of the company. And all this whole issue is filled with people doing really amazing things with used textiles, actually. Okay, so back to the stream of those bales of clothing that these beautiful Guatemalan people have found this amazing use for. Often get used to make rags. So like back in the United States before they're exported, the volume of waste in the clothing world in our culture, in the United States, is tenfold the average other country in the world. So we generate way more clothing waste than other cultures, which is evident by our thrift. I mean, so we have this resource, right? This like amazing resource of used clothing to use for other purposes. Whereas in other countries, it's not like that. Even other countries that are quite similar in culture to ours, like Ireland, hence my sweatshirt. Ireland is where I was born, and it's also where my family and I spent a winter a few years ago. We were there for about 6 months, and thrift stores there are quite different. Really, I had no idea. I had never done research on that aspect of their culture until I was living there. And there's, people wear their clothes there. They don't buy disposable clothing. So it's a whole different way of looking at consumption and clothing use. But at any rate, in our culture, when you toss clothing away that's no longer serving you, a lot of times it's made into rags that you buy at like the auto mechanic place, or you can buy bags of rags like wrapped in plastic at like Costco or whatever. Those are actually from recycled clothing a lot of the time. So, which is great. So if you see 2 bags for sale, one that's all one color and all exactly the same size, and the other bag is a mixed color assortment, all different colors and maybe a little bit different in size, buy the one with the colors, because that's recycled. And if we support recycled businesses, we are encouraging that to continue, and to continue to have that be a viable moneymaker for the people involved. So before you throw your t-shirt with holes in it out, think about ways you can use it in your house. Could you make it into rags before you throw it away? In our house, it does get a little confusing because we use cloth napkins, and it's funny, I was showing a box of amazing, beautiful, actually it's not too far from where I'm standing right now. A friend of mine gave me this box of like heirloom quality linens from her family. And in that box, there was like several dozen beautiful napkins, and we're using them in my house because we use cloth napkins. And I feel like the people who made those napkins, when you use a napkin, you're looking at it, it's close, like you're able to really appreciate the handwork that went into it. Whereas when you're, wearing a garment, if that piece of whatever intricate embroidery is on the back of your garment or somewhere that you're not, you don't spend a lot of time looking at your garments when you're wearing them. So it's nice to have that kind of intimate relationship with someone who I've never met but made beautiful things. So sorry, I've been rambling on a lot this morning. Sage is here. Oh, thanks. She's telling me I'm the textile diva. Wow, you're just so kind. Thank you for that little, the title. I'll take it. And Sally Underwood Miller, you have a lovely yellow blanket waiting for me. I've been meaning to contact you, and thank you for saying that, because I will swing by and get it. If you leave it in the same place where you left the last couple wool blankets that inspired Sally Underwood Miller. You probably don't know this girl, but you totally inspired this whole project, right? Like, I think actually this was a blanket that you gave me, this pink, if I remember. Was the blue? I can't remember which one, but you gave me a couple, and there was a few actually. And yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, so think about ways that you might be able to use the clothing that's no longer serving you before you throw it away, especially if it's not wearable. So, when you take a bag of clothing to the Goodwill and you have, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. Half the stuff is not wearable. It's got holes and stains, and nobody's ever going to be able to use it. It doesn't really matter, because what they do, I mean, as long as it's clothing and it's not actually garbage, like if it's actually garbage, throw it away. Because these companies spend a ton of money on dumpsters because people give them crap that's like certainly not marketable. So be sure that when you're donating to a place that they are either going to be able to resell it in some form or use it somehow. If you're donating something that's going to incur that company an expense, that's kind of like really defeating the purpose. These companies are doing us a great service by recycling our material. So help them make it easy for them if you can. So when you donate your stuff to Salvation Army, Goodwill, the big dumpster things that are might be at your transfer station, even if it's not wearable, they're able to use it because they can sell that as a rag. They can process it. There's other things that get used too. So like when I first started buying wool, I was buying wool, what they called wool knits, and the wool knits that I wasn't buying went to this company. I'm sure there was more than just one of them that shredded it up into this, like, it almost looked like fleece again. I mean, multicolored, but like fluffy and kind of stringy. And that would get compressed and treated in some manner to make it into it almost looks like cardboard, but it's the inside liner of car hoods is often made from recycled wool, because wool has all these bizarre attributes, like it doesn't burn, it's self-extinguishing, which made it useful in that setting. They also use it to make like the matting stuff that goes underneath wall-to-wall carpeting. I mean, I'm sure you guys, well, maybe you haven't. I live in a place where a lot of people use boot liners in their winter boots, and those are often made from recycled wool. When I was a kid, everybody wore Sorel boots, and those kind of puffy, kind of blue-gray liners are made from recycled wool. So there's a lot of different uses for the material, whether or not it's actually wearable. But I'll tell you, it's much easier for these companies to process and use natural fiber material than it is for them to work with synthetics. So I feel like it's a really important, when you buy clothing, it's just such an important decision. It's important for you to buy things that are useful for you, that are going to serve you for longer than a short window, that are, going to be a sort of staple of your wardrobe and stand up to years of use, and that are made in a way that you, as a human on the planet, would support and condone. So, a lot of the decision making that goes in to buying clothing has been kind of, for a long time you were like shoveled all this marketing stuff about like consume, buy more stuff. Well, I think we are all in a place now where we're able to see that paradigm is not sustainable. That's definitely not the way forward. We need to, and it's hard to switch from that to like, okay, now I got to think about every pair of socks I buy. Well, if you think about it, and you take the time to think about it, and you wind up spending, let's say, $30, because some socks do cost $30 a pair. are they going to last you 30 times longer and serve you 30 times better than the pair of socks that cost $1? Not that, I don't know, can you buy socks for $1? I don't think so. I mean, not new socks. So, a pair of socks maybe cost $5, and I can tell you something, the $30 socks, they're better all the way around. They're made by a reputable company. They're going to last you, they're actually guaranteed for life. Darn Tough is the name of the company that I'm referring to right now. They're durable, they're comfortable, anyway. So think long and hard about what you purchase and make decisions that support your grandkids. Barbara's asking about companies where you can buy by the bale, the clothing by the bale. So the biggest supplier in the country is called Midwest Textiles, and they're actually, Barbara, this is going to be helpful for you. They are located in El Paso, Texas, and their production happens across the border in Mexico. Of course, because then they don't have to pay as much. Sorry, but that's the reality of the situation. They sort, I think, 1 million pounds of clothing a day, and it could be different now because that's from information from years ago. But there's companies all over the place. It's really hard to get in. It's really hard, especially like you're a woman. It's really hard to get into that like stream and just be like, yes, I'm real. I have a business and I want to give you money. That company especially is very hard to do business with until you are established. So to start with, if you're looking for like a 100-pound bale, Midwest Textile generally sells by the tractor trailer load, which means you have to buy like 24,000 pounds of an item to get them to listen to you. But there's a company that's listed on Etsy, and I don't know the name of it, but I have seen it, and I know that they're still around, that sells wool sweaters by the bale. And I'm not sure what other materials they have listed for sale that way, but even if they have no other materials listed for sale that way, Barbara, you could contact them and ask them to help you if you're looking for a different type of material, because I'm sure that wherever they're getting their material from would be able to supply you with your material, whatever you might be looking for. And then there's an organization that's called SMART, which is Secondary Materials and Recycled Textiles. And they're based in, I'm going to put this in the comments. They're based in, I think it's in Baltimore, but definitely in Maryland. And they are like a trade organization for the suppliers. And I belong to the organization. Like there's, anybody who's related to the recycled textile market can join, but it's predominantly geared toward, they're called garment graders. So, and that is, let me just reply here. That is secondary, where's my typing? It's not coming out very well. Secondary materials and recycled textiles. There we go. Sorry, I couldn't take the time to find the link, but definitely if you're interested in learning more about the volume side of things, that's a good place to check out. So does anybody else have questions today? For some reason, I'm not, okay, no, I see everybody's comments now. Okay, so if anybody has any comments or questions, pop them up there. I will check from, I check them at comments as I do before the next, tomorrow I'll be back at 11. So if you have anything that comes to mind, just pop a comment in there and I will try to address as much or as many that I have time for. The other thing that I'm just offering to everybody who's out there listening or watching, if you put your friend's name, if you like tag a friend in the comments and then shoot me your mailing address, I'll send you a screen print that I made in the mail. And I make different screen prints all the time, and you can learn more about how that all works and why on earth I make screen prints in a previous episode of Live at 11. So I'm just trying to build up the audience for people who are really interested in making an impact and changing the shift. It's a paradigm shift. We're making shift happen, folks. Like let's do this and let's have fun with it and spread the word to people who are interested in just staying positive and optimistic and real, like doing work. It's good. Awesome. So have a great rest of your day, and I will see y'all tomorrow morning live at 11 right here on Facebook. And the recordings are also posted over on my YouTube channel. And subscribe to my channel if you hop over there, because it really helps me out. The more subscribers I have, the more I can do with my channel. So thanks for your help. Okay, bye.